Everyone loves the magic of movies. The red carpet, the big names, the box office numbers flashing in headlines. Biggest opening weekend ever. Budget, $200 million. Gross, $1 billion. It sounds like a success story. It looks like everyone's getting rich. But here's the twist. The money in film doesn't flow the way you think it does. Behind the glamour, filmmaking is a high-stakes financial puzzle, where power, risk, and reward are anything but equally distributed. So who really makes the money? And why do so many films that look like hits end up in the red? Love what you're watching. Just scan the QR to join the community hat. This is the hidden economics of filmmaking. Let's start with the basics. The budget. When we hear a film costs $100 million to make, most of us picture sets, actors, cameras, costumes, and that's partly true. But a huge chunk of that number never touches the screen. Studio overhead, insurance, interest, union fees, development costs that go back years. And marketing? Often not included in the budget at all, but can cost as much as the production itself. A $100 million movie might need to earn $300 million or more just to break even. And yet, studios keep greenlighting massive productions. Why? Because of how the risk is structured. Most studios don't use their own money. They use other people's money. Investors, international pre-sales, tax incentives, streaming advances, and co-financing deals. The studio may distribute the movie, own the IP, and control the brand, but someone else might have paid for most of it. And the profit? That depends on who you are. If you're a top actor, you might get an upfront salary, and more importantly, a back-end deal. That means a slice of the profits, sometimes gross, sometimes net. Tom Cruise doesn't just get paid to act in Mission Impossible. He gets a piece of the entire pie. But here's the trick. Net profit in Hollywood is almost a myth. It's the money left over after everyone gets paid, all costs are covered, and the studio finishes creatively accounting the expenses. Many films technically never turn a profit, even when they earn hundreds of millions. They call it Hollywood accounting, and it's legendary. There are films that made hundreds of millions, but still lost money on paper, so no one owed back-end points. So who does make real money? Distributors, licensing agents, merchandising partners. Theaters used to take 40–50% of box office grosses. Now it varies by deal, territory, and platform. And then came streaming, where everything changed. When Netflix, Amazon, or Apple greenlight a film, they usually buy it outright, paying a lump sum for global rights. No theatrical risk, no box office reports, just a giant check up front. It's a win for producers. Immediate payout. It's a win for platforms. They own the content forever. But here's the downside. It can kill long-term profits for the filmmakers. No box office bump, no licensing tail, no cult hit growth, just a flat payout. And the platform owns your film. And that raises a deeper question. Is streaming good for filmmakers? It's complicated. For indie creators, platforms offer access, global reach, and upfront money they might never get from a theatrical model. But for mid-level studios and creatives trying to build a sustainable career, the economics are trickier. Because once you sell the film, you sell everything. No merch, no sequel rights, no bonus checks when it goes viral. Just a paycheck and a title buried in a massive content library. And that brings us to the real winners in film economics. IP owners. Franchises, brands, universes. Disney doesn't just make money from movies. They make money from worlds, from Marvel to Star Wars to Pixar. The film is just the gateway. The real gold is in merchandise, licensing, theme parks, streaming bundles, and long-tail content spin-offs. That's why studios are obsessed with IP. It's not about storytelling. It's about ownership. And what about the people who actually make the films? The crew, the writers, the editors, the composers. Many of them work project to project, often underpaid, overworked, and excluded from the profits altogether. This imbalance has fueled industry-wide labor movements, from the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes to crew unionization efforts. Because the magic of cinema is built on the backs of thousands, but the money flows to a select few. So what's the takeaway? That film is a business before it's an art. That profit doesn't always follow quality. And that visibility doesn't always mean power. But it also means this. Filmmakers who understand the economics can change the game. They can negotiate smarter deals, retain their rights, build their own audiences, crowdfund, self-distribute, license strategically, use the system, instead of being used by it. Because in today's world, the tools are democratized, but the economics are still stacked. And knowing how money moves is a kind of power. So next time you see a box office hit, ask who got paid, ask who owns the story, ask who got left out. Because the credits don't tell the whole story. Big-budget blockbusters dominate the headlines. Studios rake in billions. Streaming giants spend like kings. But what about the rest? What about the filmmakers who don't have Marvel-sized budgets? Who don't own billion-dollar IP? Who aren't backed by studios but by sweat, favors, and credit cards? Can independent filmmakers survive and actually make money in today's film economy? The answer is yes. But it's complicated because the economics of independent filmmaking are completely different. There are no safety nets, no massive marketing budgets, and no guaranteed distribution. For most indie films, the challenge isn't just making the movie, it's getting anyone to see it. And yet, the indie world keeps creating, keeps thriving, even in the shadows of the giants. So how do they do it? Let's break it down. It starts with the budget. Indie films are often made for $500K, $100K, even $10K, or less. That means filmmakers wear multiple hats: producer, director, editor, even caterer. They call in favors, shoot fast, use natural light, rehearse hard. Every dollar is a decision. But the upside? Creative control, fewer gatekeepers, and more skin in the game. And if the film is good, really good, it might find its way to the festival circuit. Sundance, TIFF, Tribeca, SXSW. For some, it's a launch pad, a place to land a distributor, to win awards, to sell global rights. But even then, success is rare. Most indie films don't sell for millions. They sell for survival, enough to pay back investors. Maybe. Enough to make the next one, hopefully. So where does the money come from? Sometimes, grants, fellowships, and film labs. Nonprofits, regional funds, arts councils. But those are competitive and limited. More often, crowdfunding. Platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo have become lifelines for indie creators. Not just for raising money, but building early buzz and a loyal community. The film becomes a movement, the audience becomes the investor, and the filmmaker becomes the brand. Which leads us to the next frontier, the creator economy. Filmmakers are no longer just directors. They're YouTubers, podcasters, Substack writers, TikTok storytellers. They don't just make films. They build ecosystems. They release behind-the-scenes content, build Patreon communities, sell digital rights, partner with brands, even drop films as NFTs or offer equity to supporters. Because here's the truth. Distribution is no longer a finish line. It's just another hustle. Even after your film is out, you have to promote it. Submit it to streamers, upload to Amazon, license it to airlines, hotels, schools, international territories. The film becomes a business, and if you're smart, you treat it that way. That's how films like The Babadook, Tangerine, or Moonlight went from passion projects to international successes. They had strong creative vision, but also smart, scrappy strategy. And yet, many still don't break even with critical acclaim. Why? Because exposure doesn't pay rent. Because festival buzz doesn't always translate to long-term income. Because creators are often left out of the back end. Again. So what's the solution? For some, It's owning the entire pipeline. Make the film, distribute it yourself, sell directly to your audience, build your email list, your channel, your base. This is what creators like Issa Rae, Bo Burnham, and Ava DuVernay did early on. They didn't wait for permission. They built platforms. Others go the hybrid route, combining artistic vision with business savvy, finding the balance between personal expression and market awareness. Because here's the hard truth. Art without strategy is a short-term thrill. Strategy without art is just content. The sweet spot? Filmmakers who understand both. Because the future of indie film is not about chasing studios. It's about creating new systems, new models, new definitions of success. And that success might not look like a red carpet. It might look like a sustainable income, creative freedom, a global community of fans, and the ability to make your next film on your own terms. So yes, independent filmmakers can survive. But only if they learn the economics, only if they take control of the business, and only if they stop chasing the old rules and start writing their own.